Well, folks, as you can see, I have Steve Hart with me. And of course, I've mentioned him in the past couple or two or three videos. And we've been having this discussion in our group about illusion and reality. And a lot of my friends on Facebook and YouTube and stuff like that also have the same issues that I have, although some would agree with Steve and some agree with me. So we're going to have a discussion today, and I'm going to let Steve, explain his perception of this illusion or reality debate or whatever you want to call it. So Steve, get us started.
Okay, I'm going to start off with a paradox, and that is the fact that I believe that we live in a world of both illusion and reality. It's all about our perception. And you talk about the fact that you only experience what you experience is real. That's what you say. And I can tell you that in my life, that's not true. I mean, I experience a lot of things. They're not real. I'm a professional magician and can do magic. I can create an illusion and make it look real. And you're in your mind, you go, that looks like it's really real. And it's not. It's an illusion. But let's get back to our perception of life itself. And the biggest illusion that we all experience is fear. I mean, so many times my mind will take off running on a thought of something that I'm afraid of. And then I have to stop and ask myself, what is it I'm really afraid of? What is it that I'm creating in my mind? And then when I actually go through the experience, I come out the other side of it going, I don't know what I was afraid of. I was somehow confused about what I thought it was going to be real, that fear had created this illusion. So it all goes back to what we experience and our perception of that. So that's the beginning of my perception on this, and my perception. Here again, that's just mine. Everybody, I may not agree with your position because I have my own perception about what that is.
And I've mentioned that in the videos that I talk about. I said everybody has their own unique experience. No two, even identical twins, have the same experience as living
sometimes,
life.
Okay, but sometimes my perception, I can actually shift and change my perception. And that's something that I have chosen to do. I don't accept everything as this is reality, and then therefore that's an illusion or whichever. And I get to actually choose my perception of that. If I want to believe that my fears are real, then I live in that world where my fear is real. If I want to believe that I'm free and I'm not subject to these fears, then I can learn to let go of the fears. Now it's a process because we have to deal with our own perception, our own belief system, and our ego. So we've got all this filtering that we have to go through to discern what is real and what is not real.
Let me ask you something, Steve. Do you have a driver's license?
Yes, I do.
Is your name in the driver's license all capital letters?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Now, would you agree or disagree with me that that's a trap?
Yes.
But we do it anyway. I have a driver's license as well.
That's right.
I wasn't given a chance. When I had an international driving permit, I had my driver's license had expired, and I spent time in jail waiting for my son to come and get me.
I remember that.
Yeah. And the system forced me to get a driver's license or agree to get a driver's license. And I have to pay a premium on insurance. I have to have insurance now. I have to jump through all the hoops that they make me jump through. And they force me into their fraudulent illusion.
That's true.
And
They do.
that's exactly how I see it. It's
Yeah, but
fraud, and God has allowed the fraud. That's the part that really rankles me, that the creator allows that to continue, and the human race to be defrauded.
but the creator has also given you the wisdom to be able to see past that illusion. So
That's
even though we
not easy.
play in the illusion. We do play in the illusion. There's no question about it. What's happening to us right now, and this is a perfect example of the driver's license, is the fact that we know it's an illusion. It's and why they created it and how that it's serving them.
It's
But
a
it doesn't.
control mechanism.
Yes, it's true. But the point is when we realize the truth behind it, then we can decide how we want to play with it. And I watched you drive without your driver's license and 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 going through the experience, and even I was sharing the same opinion with you, but I was perplexed as to how to play that. And your story played out a lot differently than the choice I made. But I'm glad.
All because of a tail light being
That's
out.
right. That's right. I'm so glad you came through that, and that you now have your license back, you got your car back, and you're able to travel. But the point is you had to make a choice as to how you're going to play in the illusion. So, and that's my point about what we're experiencing here in the Matrix. And see, this Matrix, I can call it an illusion, and or I can call it a reality. It all goes back to this: what point of perception I'm looking at the Matrix. This body is real to me, is my reality, but the truth is this is not just me. I'm this is just a shell. This is an avatar of a spirit being expressing itself to you in this Matrix today. You know, in the future I may be something else, somebody else. You know.
Well, I do believe that there are past lives, and I've had experience where it seemed real, that I was at least experiencing portions of something that I'm not connected to now, that I was in a different era of time and a different persona, and everything was different, but I felt it was still me.
See, and most people would say that that's an illusion in your head. And I would say, no, that could be a reality of the truth of your spirit being. So that it goes right back to about perception. And and then here again, when you talk about a subject like that, I don't focus on my past lives
Oh,
because I'm living in this world. I'm living in this now moment, you know, in this avatar.
but see, that's another thing. People say that everything is happening right now, that even time is an illusion.
Well,
and yet we cannot experience our lives without a sequential unfolding of events.
okay, but here again, that's not for me to try to figure that out. Even though I may agree with that, I have to stay present in the now moment and what's in front of me. And we were talking the other night during one of our spiritual meeting discussion groups about the fact that I have to give attention to the things that show up in front of me. What I do with them, that's a choice I'm going to make. But I'm not in denial. I'm not, I'm not being stupid, and I'm using the wisdom that I have to make the choices that I want based upon my belief system and my intuition and filtering through my ego. But that's the importance of all this, is to be able to allow the ego to take a back seat, and wake up to my true self and to my spirit being. And through this awakening that I'm experiencing right now, I have a better way of interpreting the difference between this illusion and reality. That's the important thing right there. Because as long as you're stuck allowing your ego to control your life, you're constrained into a particular pattern in which you are going to live in the illusion thinking it's a reality.
Well, see, this is this ego thing that you've mentioned several times in that portion.
Mhm.
To me, ego is neither, it's neutral. We all are born, we're given a name. And that's our identity in this lifetime. We are the name. Now, you don't use your full name. You have a different last name, but the last name, according to a video that I just watched, I think that is that one that I sent you to.
Mhm.
The last name is the trap, because I'm Ronald Thomas. When I put a Van Dyke in it, that puts me in the matrix.
Yeah.
Ronald Thomas can be a free person. As soon as I add the last name, I'm now in their system. And I didn't know that just by using the name that's on my birth certificate, the name that I've lived with all my life, by using the full name, that's a trap.
They're making you another person, a corporation is what they're
And it's a
doing.
corporation, which is a dead entity, which has no human rights.
I understand that, but see, my choice of using or not using my last name is it doesn't really matter about that. But I'm aware of what you're saying, and that's the key. The key is to be aware, to know who you are, to identify with your true self. With my true self is my spirit being, and so yes, this body, this avatar is attached to a name.
An identity, which is a name.
Yes. At the same time, even in this matrix, I get to choose how I want to live that out. The control system that you're referring to, where they've turned me into a corporation, that's their system, that's their world. I choose not to live in that world. Now I go
But
in
you
and
don't
out
really
of
have
that.
a choice.
Well, you're right.
Mentally, you've made a choice.
Okay,
But
I don't have a choice.
physically, you do live in that world.
If I lived in the jungle or if I lived in the desert, I would have the total freedom. I do have a choice. So as long as I'm living in their matrix, in their system, then I have to play, and that's what I'm doing. But I'm aware of the fact that I'm playing the game.
Yeah, well, that's what some people have suggested. If you want to get out of the matrix, go live in the jungle or the desert or Alaska or someplace where they're not going to mess with you.
At one time, I thought I wanted to do that, but I found out.
Well, I wouldn't be able to survive, I don't think, because
that's not my purpose.
When I killed a rabbit that time, I felt so terrible about killing a rabbit, and I've not used a firearm or a weapon of any kind since then.
Yeah.
I mean, I just felt so bad that I killed that poor little bunny rabbit. and I was in the Army, so I was an expert rifleman.
We have a right to survive in this world, and what's happened is there are those who have placed their authority over us, who want to control us and maintain their illusion and their control over us. But the secret for us is to beware of their control and to decide how we want to play the game. Because the importance of the shift that needs to take place first is in my own mind, in my own consciousness, about who I am and how I'm going to play this game. This is the way I am able to free myself. And what happens is, in my experience, has been over the years since I first become to wake up to this reality, is I'm finding more and more freedom and more happiness and more joy in my life, knowing that I'm playing the game. And I decide once again how I want to play it. And yes, they are going to force themselves upon me when they choose to do so. And here again, I get to choose how I want to play that. the most important thing is for me is to be aware of who I am and to not get stuck in the illusion that they are creating.
Okay.
The illusion, I still have the illusion within my mind. I'm still having to process it myself. I'm not totally free.
Do you vote?
No, I do not vote anymore.
No, neither do I. Although I did update my voter registration for 2020.
Good for you.
But
I vote with my voice, with my heart. I vote when I express myself, but the voting system in my mind in my belief system has been corrupted.
Well, it most certainly has, especially
not everybody believes
on the voting things when everything is in the computer and there's no written record that can go back and be verified. That's crazy. And then they're letting people that aren't even citizens in the legal sense. They're allowing everybody to vote, and some people vote more than once. And I mean, the whole system.
And here again, you don't understand that. You don't see that until you start letting go of your old belief system and letting go of this illusion that's been created. You don't understand that. But see, I'm past the frustration and the anger that I first had when I found the truth about that. And I distinctly remember the last time I voted and what happened. And I'm going, wait a second, what's going on here? And I started waking up to the truth of that. And I became angry at first, but then I realized it's just the game. It's the game they've created, and I'm deciding now how I want to play the game. And so I'm calling that an illusion.
Well, I agree. I don't think it's just an illusion. I think there's a stronger word. It's a delusion. We've all been deluded by lies.
Well, my opinion is you're deluded when you know it's an illusion and you still believe it's real. That's delusion. When you know otherwise.
Well, I know their system is fraud. I mean, I know that.
So therefore,
there's no doubt in my mind, and YouTube.
That's why I don't vote, because I know that it's an illusion to believe that my voting counts, and it would be a delusion for me to continue to vote. In my mind, and that would be my interpretation of that.
If it was really controlled, here's the enigma that I have. Hillary was positive she was going to be the next president.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Before he even took office, they were already mounting an attack against Donald Trump. And it's been ongoing for nearly 3 years that he has served in that office. To me, politics, yes, it's part of the illusion, because I know when I voted for Ron Paul, nobody in the Brevard County voted for him, according to the local newspaper. And yet I knew all those people that did. So I know the political system is totally corrupted. I'm well aware of that. I have no, I'm not being deceived. I'm aware of it. But what can I do about it? I want to make a difference. I want my life to count, to actually wake people up.
You're making this video right now. You make videos all the time. You express your feelings. You come to the meetings. You have discussion. The fact that just the two of us are talking about this is holding an intention that puts out a vibration into the universe that will affect other people's thoughts.
Yes, but from our joint experience in the meetings that there are at least some people that in our group that come to these meetings, that if you express anything that they don't want to believe, then a wall goes up. And so the metaphysical people end up judging and protecting their wall and saying, well, I don't want Ron in the group because he brings up too many questions.
Just because they're metaphysical doesn't mean they're freed from their illusions.
Yeah.
They're still figuring it out. They're still human beings, and
Me
therefore,
too. I'm still figuring it out.
yeah, we all have to give each other breathing room and love each other. That's why love is so important, to
Well,
love
I
each
agree.
other enough and to hold the unity and peace among us so that we can evolve and expand our consciousness. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. There are people who do come to the meetings, but I don't say you can't come because you believe that or you have an opposition, and you know, so
Yeah. I
that
mean,
is a challenge.
just in a recent meeting that you weren't at, the other group that I go to all the time, that you know about, there was a particular individual there that started presenting something in a very negative fashion. And it was interesting because the leader of the group called on that person to respond, and she responded in a way that she closed down the communication from the first words out of her mouth. From her first sentence, she already created animosity. But this person, I've known her for years. She considers herself a positive mental attitude person, and she doesn't even see her own negativity because she's in denial of it. And this is endemic of human society. I'm using her as an illustration, but it's not her problem. It's our problem. And to me, it would be God's problem. But God doesn't seem to take responsibility for it. That's my perception.
Well, I think God does have responsibility. You know, Jesus said, you know a tree by its fruit. And so, yeah, she exposed herself, as we all do.
She ended up leaving the meeting before it was even over.
Mm.
I mean, it was near the end. It was about wrapping up time, but she got up and she had a guest with her, and the two of them left together.
It's one thing to say one thing and then to do and speak another.
Yeah, well, I'm sure she was totally unaware of the contradiction of her own words and actions.
It was the God within you that recognized that to solve the truth. So in my opinion, God is doing something. God is exposing. Spirit is revealing to us the truth. It's a slow process. I mean,
obviously it's taken eons.
I don't think God has abandoned us at all. He's given us full power to make these choices and to create the world that we're living within. And yes, I don't like the world we're living in, and all of its corruption and deception that's going on, but I'm changing that. First, I'm changing it here within me. The life I'm living is not that world of corruption. I don't think about how the government's corrupted the waters, corrupted the air and the food and medical and the medicine. I don't think about all that corruption. I'm aware of it, and I do acknowledge it, but I don't get caught up in the conflict of it and feel as though I have to fight it or resist it. It's more of it saying it is what it is, and I'm going to hold my intention and shift my focus over here to love and let go of the fear, because it's too easy to fall into the fear and to hang on to the fear.
One of the things that you have going for you is you've learned how to clown around with your magic.
That's true.
And you have a clown relationship now.
Yeah, I have a lady who is a professional clown working with me. Yeah, no, that's true. I decided a long time ago that I was going to be a magician and make people laugh and have a good time and create wonder and awe, and that's what I get to do. And I get paid very well for doing what I do. I just did it yesterday, and it's so much fun giving people some joy, and they know that what I'm doing is a trick. At least I hope they do. And they're not believing I have some supernatural powers, even though they have supernatural powers. I have supernatural powers. You have supernatural powers. And we call them supernatural because we don't understand them. It is science. It's just science unfolding. And we're expanding our awareness, and we understand the science behind what we call miracles. We call them miracles. I mean, you're a living miracle yourself. Look at all the things that have happened in your life just in the last 15 years.
Oh yeah, I mean, they didn't think I was going to live, as I've said
right.
again and again. I mean,
right.
my heart was so bad that they didn't think I had a chance of surviving.
Yeah, and here you are walking a mile or two a day and living a beautiful life there in your apartment.
Yeah, well, I walk 2 or more miles a day.
True, well, I can't keep up with you with 1 mile.
So, and I hug trees, and you know,
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is you're living. The fact that you're alive today is a miracle in a sense. I mean, yes, the medical people came in and they made changes, but you also stepped out of that hospital and you didn't continue to play in there because they wanted to keep you on medication for the rest of your life.
For the rest of my life, and I've not taken a single medication afterwards.
Yeah. So that's a miracle that you've done that. And the science world will say you're stupid, but
I'm alive. My heart's still beating. I can still walk my 2 miles plus a day. And I can still make my videos every day, although I am seriously considering. I don't know what YouTube is going to do. They have set it up so that if some date in January, they're changing their rules, and if they think that any of your videos are offensive to what they want people to think, they can bring you to court, but the only court that you can go to is the one in their home district in California.
Yeah. Well, if it comes to that, then I would give yourself permission to free yourself from the daily video and then find other avenues in which you can get your message out. I think you will. I know you will, and it'll be provided for you. So we'll wait and see how that unfolds. So
yeah. Well,
but I want to thank you for all the videos you've made over these past several years. And
well, this is video number 3,307.
Wow. How many people have done something like that?
Yeah. You know, I didn't miss very many days. There's been, and by the way, when they took that video down that I had to alter to get it back up, I made some smaller videos, and I didn't count them in that number. They were test videos to try to figure out how to get around their blockade that they had set up for me, and I managed to do it. I had to learn how to manipulate their system to get the video up, but it didn't get very many views. That's the reality. Anyway, I wanted to give you the opportunity to respond, because I have used your name in some of the recent videos and talked about some of the things that we've talked about, and it's still a challenge, and I don't know that it's going to be totally resolved in this discussion or any discussions in the future. But I'm happy for you and your magic and clowning escapade. And it would be nice to have somebody to clown around with and be close friends with, as you have.
I am blessed. We're all blessed.
Definitely blessed, and so I just want to applaud you for the things that are unfolding in your life. It's like a flower blooming again, and flowers need to die and bloom. I mean, right now all the trees, the elm trees, the maple trees and stuff that are in the park that I go to, it makes a mess on the boardwalk that I sweep. I get one of those palm things, and I use that as a broom, and I sweep the whole boardwalk when I'm walking. Anyway, Steve.
I'm sure nature appreciates it.
Well, and I get to talk to people every now and again as well that come by and want to know what I'm doing, and they get to share a little bit here, a little bit there.
Well, you are a miracle, and that's not an illusion.
Okay, well, thank you for taking the time. I wanted to give you the opportunity because I have, singled you out in recent videos as far as the conflict that we have over what's real. And
as you said, we will continue to talk about this.
Oh, of course we will.
Because everybody's having to do this, make a choice about what's reality and what's illusion. And everybody wants to find happiness and joy in their hearts, and that's what we're all striving for, to be free to have those choices.
Well, thank you again for taking the time to make the video with me. I appreciate it, and I will be with you again in just a couple more days to take you to make your trip back up to your love. Namaste.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.